Hey y'all, I thought I would come up here and or come on here and show you all how I make my fabric beads. Jessica and a few other you guys over at Junk Journal Connections had asked me how I make these, so I'm gonna attempt to show you as quick as I can. I'm not the fastest crafter, and this is not, I mean, I learned from some other people. There's a ton of tutorials out there, and Laurie Richardson Haley is the one that I use her the way she does them. There's several different ways you can, depending on what size you want. If you want to use if you want like a bigger bead, so we can make, and the ultimate goal here, what I do with these is make the boho beads with them. And this is like a big one. And then the smaller ones, you know, kind of like this. So, and you can use paper as your base. So you can just roll little paper beads. And that's just as simple as taking a strip of paper, like this, and just rolling it up, you know. And there's a ton of, you know, you can cut it into a strip where it's tapered off so that you get kind of this effect. Or you can just do it flat, and I'll just roll them flat like this, put a little glue in there and just roll, you know, cut it off, stick a little bit of glue right there and glue it, and you know, that's it. And that gives you kind of a harder base if you want something like that as a base. And then you can put fabric on it, or you can keep it like this, you know, keep it like this, and you have, you know, once it's glued, it stays together like this. And you can make beads like this. That's just a piece of scrapbook paper and some beads on the end, and, you know, wire wrapped. So, but I'm going to show you, so you can, or you can just do fabric, you know, just the fabric as a base. And you can use several different things. So this is just what I had. I have some old knitting needles, okay, that I just had. I don't knit, I don't crochet, but I had a friend give me a bunch of stuff, bunch of leftover beads and fabric and stuff, and these happened to be in the box she gave me. So like, I think this makes a, you know, a pretty wide, you know, hole like that. This one's a little bit smaller, or you can use a crochet hook. And I had this was my mom's, it was just in a sewing box, to make the smaller ones, like the little smaller beads. Well, not that one. Like this is a smaller, it's a smaller hole there. So if you want a tiny, you know, small bead, then use something small. You can use a coffee stirrer. You don't have to go buy anything. You can use a coffee stirrer, some little, you know, little bitty pieces of fabric, you don't need much at all, and some glue, and some scissors, and that's it. So, so these are just some, so you can see the difference in like the little tiny one, you know, versus the big one. So all I do is I grab me some little, I'm gonna move these out of the way. And then these are just some paper ones I just got out to show you that you can just all your scraps when you're working on something, book pages. These are book pages. These are scrapbooking paper. This is canvas fabric left over when I was painting something. I had some little strips I had to cut off. You can make them big, you can make them small, you know, just whatever you have, you know, so easy. So I'll move these out of the way. And then what I do is I just take little bits of fabric, and I really like the muslin, so this is a piece of muslin. So I'm just gonna cut this. And then, for the sake of this, I'm gonna do a little bit bigger one. And then so I put this on here, and I just kind of wrap it right here and hold it. And then I take my glue. And now watch, my glue won't come out now. I think we're about getting to the bottom of this. Take a little bit of glue right there. And then I take this and tuck it. And I just roll. And be careful not to get too much, not too much glue, because you don't want it to stick to this. And then I just come back in. And of course, you know, you can add more glue. You don't need this much glue, but if you want it to be a little stiffer when it dries and not so squishy, it'll hold up a little bit better, I add a little bit more glue. You use fabric glue. You could probably use Elmer's glue. I'm using Eileen's Tacky Glue. It's just one of my favorite glues. It just works really well on a lot of stuff. So I buy the big, huge bottles because glue ain't cheap no more. Okay, so that's just a base, and then you grab you another little tiny strip, and really you don't need much at all. So I'll just take this, and I can either just wrap it, you know, I can wrap it a couple of times, make a little bit thicker bead. And then just glue it. And it is as simple as that. So for me, I'm not making them real fancy or anything. I just really kind of like the look of that. So I'll just kind of move it just a little bit to make sure it's not, you know, stuck on there. And then let it dry, and then I'll go on to the next one. So I can take another little piece of. Now this one I might want to do smaller. I want to try this. I haven't tried it on the coffee stick or the coffee stirrer. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it just a tad, just so I can get it on there. And I'm not real good with the tiny little stuff. I'm better with larger pieces because I've just got big hands. I don't have little bitty fingers, so this is a little more challenging to me. But yeah, so if you just want that little tiny bit, if you don't want to add anything to it, you know, that's fine like that. It just depends on what you want to do with them. Or you can add, I don't know if I got anything even smaller. Like maybe a little piece of this. So what I do with that, if I'm going to use that, oops, sorry. If I'm going to use some of this eyelash trim, I just go ahead and put some glue around it, and then I just wrap it. So if you want the little fuzzy look, you know, you just do that. And of course, the more you wrap, depends on how fuzzy you want it. And you just clip it off, and then you got a little bitty fuzzy little bead. You can layer as much as you want. So that, you know, that's gonna work, see? And you can pull it off and let it dry. You know, just set it aside. I'll have to clip that off because I didn't get all that glued. But it's better if you just leave them on here. Yeah, now I'm not gonna be able to get it back on there. So just, you know, leave it on here to let it dry. And you can do several on one thing. So that's how I did these. And like this one right here is it's a little bit bigger strip of fabric, and then some kind of, it's almost like a fuzzy sort of eyelash trim, you know, and this fabric has just frayed like that. So whatever you want to use, you can use lace. I tried a little bit of lace and gold trim on that. I have them in frame. Anyhow, just really easy peasy, you know, whatever you want to use, however fancy you want to make them, however simple you want to make them. I tend to like the simpler ones with just a little, you know, I like kind of the fuzzy ones too, but I kind of like just the simple ones like this. So that's, you know, that's as easy as it gets. You can use lace, eyelash trim, you know, just whatever you have. Pieces of shirts. This is a piece of a shirt that I've used. I've cut up in strips. I've used it on my tassels and used it in some of my beads. You know, whatever you have on hand. And then let's see where I'm at. So I'm at 10 minutes. So I'm going to do a part 2 to show you how to do some of this. And I'm not a jeweler. I have never made jewelry. I just, you know, I saw some videos and I had some things that people have given me. Some, you know, old beads. Well, not old beads. Giving me a bunch of beads and things like that. And all this jewelry stuff. And I never really knew what I was going to do with it all. I made charms, you know, for books. But then I started seeing all these videos for the boho beads. And I just fell in love with them. So, you know, I'll just drag that out and play every once in a while. And all you really need to do that, I went and bought this. I did have a few things, but I did go to Michael's and I bought this little kit for $9.99. So it has these tools in it, which are pliers, so like flat nose pliers, and then they have specific names, y'all. And I'm sorry, I'm not. Like I said, I'm not a professional jewelry maker. I just play around with stuff I have, and I think they're called, I don't know, this cuts your wire, okay, so it's a cutter, and these are flat nose, and then they call these needle nose, which is the round ones, which, you know, you wrap your wire around them. But, you know, you don't need a whole lot of tools or anything fancy to do this, just those things. And this was pretty cool because it came with, now I threw my stuff in here. So this is empty on this side, but it comes with a little carrier. You know, it closes up on both sides. For 10 bucks at Michael's, and I used a 50% off coupon, so. But that's all you really need, and some wire to do the wrapping. And I just buy, I had some, I used up all the wire that, you know, some of my friends gave me. But I just use like a 18 gauge wire, or I think Jessica uses like a 20 gauge wire in her stuff, but my beads, some of the holes in the beads are small, so the 20 gauge is just a little bit big. This is my favorite though. I will tell you that the copper is my favorite. I'm heavy-handed, and to me, there is a difference in the 18 gauge and like this kind of gold wire or this silver. This you can't work but so much it will break easier. This is a little tougher to me. So when you go twisting and wrapping, and I've broke my wire several times, but yeah, so I'm gonna do a part 2 and just show you how I do this, how I put these together. So anyway, and I'll put a link to some of the other YouTubers out there that you know, have great tutorials. I've never done a tutorial. This is my first one. I hope you found that helpful. And these are really fun and very addictive, and you can make a lot. I mean, you can sit and watch TV or listen to TV, or, you know, sit in your bed if you're tired and you're just not up to do anything else. It's real easy. Grab you some fabric and glue and something to wrap it on, and just, you know, wrap up fabric beads. But anyway, I hope everybody's having a great day, and thanks for watching. And let me know if you found it helpful, or if you enjoyed it, or, you know, if I stink at it. Anyway, I will talk to you guys soon. Love you. Bye.